Hi, this is Christina.
And Carmen.
And this is another episode of Espooky Tales, a podcast for all things spooky. Today, we have a guest with us that will be sharing her stories. And let me just do a quick professional introduction, which we never do. So, Emily Casillas is a professional curandera, tarot reader, candle witch, and death doula with 7 years of experience. Anything else you want to share really quick before we get into the listener story? Like maybe hi, since you've only been waving. My bad. I just kept talking. That's
girl, don't worry about it. Hello, everybody. I guess just to say that I kind of went into all of this because of my own extremely insane paranormal experiences. So I love hearing other people's experiences because I don't know, I've loved horror since I was a little kid. My mom was like a teen thrasher in the 90s. So I grew up watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Jim Henson movies. So all of this has always been just the norm for me. I've been a little spooky goth kid since I was 3 or 4.
How exciting. And really quick, before I read the listener story, I just want to say how fun Threads is because that's how we connected.
I love Threads so much. It's so much better than Twitter ever was. It's so much more of a community. There's so much nicer people there. I love it.
For sure. It's also crazy how you just type haunted or something and people will find you. And it's the people that you want to find you and the people you want to find, like you. And I'm like, this is crazy. I don't know what they're doing over there, but it works, whatever.
Yeah, I love that algorithm so much. I never change Threads. Please stay the same because it's working for those of us that want to find, like-minded people who aren't dicks.
Yeah, just spooky people that are cool,
Yes.
Okay, so I do have a listener story, and if anyone wants to send us their personal hauntings, you can do that at espookytales@gmail.com. You can also submit it on Discord. The link is in the show notes. We also have the Spooky Hotline. The number is in the show notes. You can only leave 3-minute voicemails on there. So keep it short if you're doing that, or call again because it'll get cut off. Or, whatever. We'll work something out if you, need something else. This one is from Discord, so let's just get into it. Hi, I have one spooky tale. I don't know if it's scary enough. Sorry if my English is bad. Here it goes. This was almost 18 years ago. I am working abroad in Japan. I am renting this room from a friend. I work night shifts. I am asleep during the day, and I'm a light sleeper. So every time I switch sleeping positions, like turning to my side, I am usually aware or conscious. This time, when I turned, something exhaled on my face.
No!
That's horrifying. I opened my eyes and nobody was there. So I got up and went to my friend's room and asked if she went in my room. She said,
to breathe
I'm
in
asleep.
his face.
Yeah, to breathe. Imagine that. She said, isn't it obvious I'm asleep? This was around 9 a.m., so I never went back to sleep after that. Even before moving in the apartment, I would sometimes sleep over. One time, while I was doing my makeup, I saw a shadow standing by the door. When I turned to look, it was gone. It was in the room that I ended up renting, so it's not really surprising what happened to me, but it was a bit scary.
Yeah, that's scary.
Japan. Okay, so it's so funny that you bring up this reader story because part of my job is kicking out spirits from houses. And so I've always made this joke, what if we get a bunch of brujas together and we go and kick out all these spirits and we basically get free or cheap houses in Japan? Because most of these houses are abandoned because they're considered haunted. I will tell you, though, I'm not afraid of anything anymore. After doing this for so long and, having hands-on experience, nothing fucking scares me. But Asian shit is really scary. Asian shit is really dark. It is. I've encountered a few spirits from that culture. And I was like, God damn, this is intense. So that's crazy. My instinct also is to who the fuck is breathing?
Get out of my face.
Who is breathing on me?
When you said that part of your job is to kick out spirits, it made me think of the episode of This Fool. Did you watch that show? I know, Christina, you did.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, so there's an episode where I forgot everyone's names already in this show, but the mom, so she retires because she's like this hardworking Mexican who just can't stop working, right? So then she retires from her job, but she pretends that she's still working, like she doesn't tell her family for whatever reason, right?
She tells them she's doing some leisure old people activities, and really she ends up house cleaning for an old white lady. She goes to this lady's house, pretends to be the house cleaner, and then when the real house cleaner gets there, then she starts pretending it's like a ghost, and she starts yelling at it to get out, and like just a bunch of bad words.
She's like
in
cussing
Spanish.
at
Yeah.
That's what it made
The
me
old
think
lady's
of.
white, so she doesn't speak Spanish.
That's
and so then
funny.
she's doing it all in Spanish, and that's funny.
That's one way to get rid of someone. Oh my goodness.
Well, let's hear a story of like you getting rid of a spirit or something. That sounds
okay.
That sounds
horrifying.
cool.
I'll tell you guys one of my most intense house limpias that I've ever done. So I was on Instagram. I had my business before and I had more followers, and I deleted it for a while. So I can't find this person for the life of me. But one day this woman contacts me and she's like, oh my God, I need your help so bad. She was sending me videos of her kids' toys, like just bouncing in broad daylight by themselves, the cars being played with, crazy things moving all over the house. Her CCTV cameras would capture specters moving, like all of these things. Oh my God. The activity was like a horror movie. It was insane.
Wow.
So I fortunately completed my apprenticeship with my godmother and a family friend. This is one of the very first houses where I was like, bitches, we need to get together and you need to help me because wow. So I get to this woman's house and I'm like, oh my God, there's so much. And so she explains to me, like, well, I live right in front of a funeral home and the ashes from the crematorium are always hitting my house.
That can't be
always. Yeah. So you can only imagine. It took us quite a while to clear that house. And so one thing I will tell you, a lot of the time when there's a lot of activity like that, there's usually a demon involved. And the demon will use other ghosts like a battery pack to get more power. It kind of traps all the other spirits with it and it sucks off their energy so that it can fuck with people more.
That's how it shows it in the movies too. Wow.
That's true. That's the one thing that Hollywood got right. That is actually true. Oh man, I have a bone to pick with Hollywood about some horror movies. But anyway.
Okay, you can tell us which after.
Yeah. So yeah, we ended up clearing this house. We got rid of the demon. We got rid of all of the spirits. And so one thing I'd like to clarify is that I can't completely get rid of the spirits. I get rid of the bad ones. I create a barrier so that only the good ones can stay and nothing with bad intentions can get in. So I explained that to her also. Another thing about the person who owned the home, sometimes it's not always a ghost. Sometimes our repressed feelings can become its own entity and detach from us, and you have like your own poltergeist.
Wow.
Like going around and messing with things. So we had to take care of that for her too, to kind of help her attract them less. But girl, there was no way we could keep all of them out. We only kept the bad ones out because, I mean, unless she moved, unless somehow the crematorium like stopped, there is no way we're going to be able to completely put that to a halt. But she paid me very generously because she experienced quite a lot of calm and peace. And the only thing that she told me that she would see, of course, would be outside of the house. Nothing would get in anymore. That was fun. That was very draining. It took quite a long time to get rid of all of those spirits. Yeah, it's something to pay attention to if you live around places where there's a lot of death. There is a funeral home around the corner from my house. There's a funeral home right down the street, and then right down the street from that is a hospice. And I live on the corner of like a street light. So my house is like a bus station for spirits. Like I wake up in the middle of the night and I go in the living room and I see people like sitting on the couches, like they're waiting for something.
Oh my God.
This has been my life since I was like 4 or 5.
That's, I mean, I guess you're used to it. Does it still scare you?
Nothing, like I said before, like nothing really scares me.
Oh yeah, you did say that.
It's just like they bother me, like they harass me 24/7. 365 days a year.
That sounds horrifying.
It's not. You know, like they show me.
I'm surprised.
They try to scare me too. Like they'll show themselves like all ugly, like, and I'll be like, what, bitch? Like, go away. I'm trying to sleep. Like at this point, it's just like whatever. I've learned how to coexist with a lot of spirits, and so I don't know if you guys have seen any of my threads, but I was talking about how I live in El Paso, and so right next to us is Juarez, and so I go to Juarez frequently.
Oh,
Yeah.
Did you mention, since you brought up El Paso right now, and it's going to be in my head, El Paso High School?
Yes. So
That's like where the most haunted high school is, right? Or am I remembering
in
wrong?
all
Like,
of America.
okay.
Yes.
So the reason why it's so haunted is because it was like a morgue for World War II soldiers for a long time. That's what its whole purpose was. It was just like a mound and it was a bunch of tunnels, and they decided to just fucking blow it up and build a school on top of it.
Good idea.
Right. And so some people, if you know how to navigate them, like there, you can still go down there and explore the tunnels if you know how to get there. There's still some there. But the biggest problem with it is that it's a gigantic open portal. It's an insane portal. And I have attempted to contact people from the administration, like I can actually help you, because I feel like people have tried to before and they failed. But this portal is so intense that the whole top floor of the school is completely locked to everyone. Like no one is allowed to go in there. There would be ooze dripping from the walls.
Oh,
Like black ooze. Like they couldn't explain like half of the crazy shit that was happening in the very top floor. So they just closed it off. Like no one can go in there. They're like, out of sight, out of mind. We're not going to deal with it. But I've been on the grounds. I've been in the football field. I've been inside the school building. Yes, it is extremely haunted. There are so many spirits and I'm like, oh my God, how would I even go about like cleansing all of this? It's so big. And so I am actually from a small town outside of the city called Favens, Lower Valley represent. And so in the 70s, I believe, my home high school was playing a football game versus another high school. And one of the football players from the team from my hometown looked into the crowd on the benches and he saw a little girl in a white dress.
Oh my God.
not a white dress.
Yeah, so he commented to someone like, "Hey, like, you guys see that weird little girl? He died. They did the kickoff and they, you know, like in football, and he died."
And he was the only one that saw her?
Yes. And so people have this like theory now that, oh, well, if you see her, you're going to die. I've seen her a bunch of times.
Oh.
She's like, "Hey, what's up, man?
And you're here to tell the tale.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. No. I don't know. I guess like people just kind of made that conclusion based off of what happened. But yeah, in my hometown, in the locker room, like they have the plaque with his picture and everything when he passed away. And I don't know, I feel like she was just like, "Hey, so they're gonna come pick you up. I'm gonna escort you." I really don't think that legend is true at all.
That she caused it or anything?
No, definitely not. But she is there though. I've seen her in the windows because I used to go break into the grounds at night.
I mean,
when
who
it was
wouldn't?
closed,
You know,
right?
Me. I
Same.
wouldn't. I'd be too scared.
I've gotten in trouble so many times for being at different cemeteries after hours and stuff, and I just like play dumb, like, "Oh, I didn't know."
Got lost.
Yeah.
I didn't check the time.
Yeah. Oh no. Oh really? Oh, it closed.
Oh, it's 3 a.m.
Okay. Yeah. Oh wow. I didn't know. No, I've never had any trouble. Except one time I did have to run from security because another group of people parked their car on the street and it was obvious that there were people there. That was fun. But yeah, I visited a lot of the haunted spots around here. This whole area is extremely haunted because, well, if you remember the war between the United States or Texas over between the United States and Mexico, there's a bunch of death that happened here. I see a lot of native spirits out here, but there is so much energy like trapped here from all of that sadness and anger that happened that my job is I get paid I get paid pretty often to go out there and help clear some stuff for people. It's insane. It's really insane how like haunted the city really is. but it's fine.
I guess you'll never be out of business.
Yeah, that and I'm glad I'm able to help people in that way, because me as a child, like, I didn't know how to do or how to deal with anything.
I'm actually glad you just brought that up because I was about to ask, like, what was your first experience that made you realize that you had this? People call it a un don, a gift. I'm not sure about that, but I get like this ability.
It is, you know, all of you have it. You have it.
Everyone says that, and I'm like, no, thank you.
No, you do. It's just there's a time period as a child where you kind of start to ask questions. And, you know, if your mom or your dad are like, no, like those things don't exist or this and that, like you kind of close yourself off to it. So my first experience as a child, I was like 4, and I was asleep in my bedroom, and we had this big dresser with a big vanity mirror. And I looked up and I see this woman with dark hair in a really long, like red ball gown. And I looked
Fancy.
in the mirror, there's no reflection. So I was like, what the fuck am I seeing? And she turned and she looked at me. And then
Oh
she
my
turned
God.
away and she ran into the wall and she disappeared.
Wow.
Yeah, that was that was the very first, like, extremely vivid experience that I'd ever had. And so as I grew up, I finally was able to get answers. Well, it turns out that that was myself from a past life.
Whoa.
And I was like, what, why, what? Why are you
here?
Yeah, what? And then ever since then, I've been able to see them, hear them, feel them. My mom kind of dismissed it. She's like, shut up. Like, that's not true. Like, you're making stuff up. And later I asked her, I was like, why did you do that? Like, why did you
She's like, I was
dismiss
scared.
me? Yes, that's exactly what she said. She was
I
like,
get it.
really? I didn't know, because she later explained to me too, like, well, when I was your age, I was playing with some Bert and Ernie dolls in front of a mirror. And when I looked in the mirror, the doll stood up and told me to come inside the mirror. And I got
Oh
scared.
my God.
Yeah, and I got
God,
scared and I
that-
ran away. And so she was like, I was scared of those things. Like, nobody taught me how to deal with them or what they were. So she's like, I was afraid. Like, I didn't know how else to handle it except for to, like, for you to ignore it too. And I feel like that's how most parents tend to handle it, because nobody really knows, like, what the fuck when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah. That's so scary, though. I mean, I get why your mom reacted that way.
Yes, definitely. Now a lot of members of my family are a lot more comfortable, because I've never been afraid to be myself or to talk about the things that I experience, and I do. And so a lot more of my family members are more comfortable with sharing, like, their own experiences. But yeah, I can only imagine what she felt also. One thing I like to talk about threads. I talked about not too long ago, because I go to Mexico pretty often.
That's another very haunted place.
Okay, but hold on. The spirits are different. You know how, like, our culture here is totally different from the one over there. Like, I feel like people here are more entitled and more selfish. In Mexico,
Yeah.
people are not like that. People are very caring. People are very respectful, very polite. Same thing with the ghosts.
Wow. That's interesting.
Yeah, here in the States, like, I'll cross the border and I'll get here, and the ghost will be like, hello, I know you can see me. Hello. Pay attention to me. I need your help. I know you can see me. Does things, make stuff move,
Oh my
this and that.
God.
In Mexico, I'll see them and they'll see me and they'll be like, ay, disculpa, señora. And they'll leave. They leave me alone.
I love that.
They leave
oh my
me
God.
alone.
Very mindful,
Very
very demure.
Yeah, no, I'm being totally serious. They are so polite and respectful. They
can see
don't
it, I can see
bother
it.
me. They don't follow me home. They're
Wow.
so nice. I see them in public. It's like seeing a live person, just like, oh, excuse me. That's it. No problem. I absolutely love it. And oh man, just the culture shock is on both sides of the living and the dead is pretty crazy. But okay, I started doing this. I started reading cards and everything in like 2018. But before then, the whole reason why I even started doing it was because I kind of went through another level of, like, hauntings. So when I turned 18, my great grandma passed away. And I know that like a lot of people are very weary of religion because of, you know, the patriarchy and
You know, everything.
colonization, all of those things.
Yeah.
Well, when my grandma passed away, I felt like a bunch of protections that she put in place went with her because I started getting sleep paralysis.
Wow.
I started getting like really fucking haunted. And so I like to call that my spiritual boot camp era.
Oh, wow.
Because I learned how to defend myself from these things. And so there is a cemetery out in the outskirts in the boonies from the little town I'm from. We call it La Isla because it's out where all the farms are, and it's a ways. If you don't know how to get there, you don't know how to get there. And it's old. It's super, super old. We're talking like indigenous graves are also there, just marked with wooden crosses because they're so old. And I frequented cemeteries a lot by myself, and I learned the hard way not to take shitty people with me to sacred ground.
Oh.
Yeah. I had a friend who was like, I've never experienced anything paranormal or spooky. And he's like, I'd love to. And I was like, okay, well, let me take you to this place I know. And so you have to drive down a road. You pass all these beautiful trees, and eventually you hit a dirt road. You can see the fucking border from where you are. It's just desert, and it's this cemetery. There's also lore behind the church down the street from it. I'll get into that in a second. But
okay.
We pull up to the cemetery, and it's got iron gates at the front. We're just driving by, we're cruising by, and when we get to that gate, I swear in my life, you hear like fists pounding, like someone's fucking doing this on the gates.
Oh,
as hard as they possibly can. And we both looked at each other and we were like, fuck no. And we turned around and we left and we go back to my house. It's like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. So we're sitting outside my house and we're like, oh shit, that was scary. Oh well, let's forget about it. Let's hit a fucking bowl. We're smoking in my friend's car. And let me tell you that the ganja makes your ability to see things a lot stronger. So we're sitting there, we're smoking, and all of a sudden my friend goes, did you fucking see that? I said, do you keep seeing something out of the corner of your eye, like running around the car? And I was like,
oh, no.
Yeah, I do. And so like it goes faster and it goes faster and it gets closer to the fucking car. And we're just ignoring it. We're like, we're going to keep smoking and just pretend that nothing's fucking happening. And then both of my locked front doors like just fly open.
Oh no.
Oh my God.
And I was like, it's time for you to go home. I need to call my aunt because my aunt is this super spiritual, like super advanced woman. I call her at 3 o'clock in the morning and she fucking answers. And I'm like, Thea, oh my God. I don't know. We went to the cemetery and we came back and now there's this like, in the middle of the night. And so she's like, it's like an angry old man and his daughter. And I was like, so we brought more than one. Fucking awesome.
Oh my God. That sounds, I was going to say an angry old man sounds like the kind of spirit you don't want, but then also they're spawn.
This person was extremely angry. And so I didn't really know anything about what I know now. I was like 18, 19. I was still young and dumb and not really like, I didn't know shit. So I was left alone in that house. I was terrified to be at that house during the day for several months because this spirit would literally chase me around the house during the day. I was terrified. Wow. Eventually it left. But yeah, I learned that day I learned that. And also that friend like turned out to be a terrible fucking person. He told me that he was born in a satanic midwifery in Mexico. Those exist. If you think magic is scary, satanic magic in Mexico is so much more scary. Yeah, he turned out to be a trash person. And you know, God, I'm sorry. I am making some connections now. So that cemetery, the spirits were pissed off because we have a satanic cult in the town I'm from. And they used to use that.
Was he part of it?
No.
He's trying to lure you in.
Okay.
No, thank God. No. They've killed people and stuff like that too.
Oh.
Oh,
Like
God, I'm over here giggling.
They have a sacrificial like altar like out in the desert. Yeah, there's whole lore about the little town I'm from. They used to use that cemetery for rituals. So naturally the spirits would be pissed off, you know what I mean? Because that's sacred ground. Well, I feel like they realize like, hey, like that motherfucker is part of that shit. Like, let's get at
that
him.
bitch over there.
Yeah.
Oh my
And
God.
so there's a little church down like just a little like a couple feet, like maybe like 30 feet away from that cemetery. And this is a true story. The Sunday school teacher murdered his whole class in that church.
Oh my God.
Whoa.
I'm sure that would add to
The anger,
terribleness
and the
and anger.
sadness. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. So yeah, I've been through some stuff. So much lore. And you know, I've talked to other people too about like I have a friend that used to live out in the desert where that altar was, and she's like, that cult is real. And I was like, yes, it's very real.
And I'm sure it's one of those things where you hear it and you're like, oh, those
You're
are
like,
just
nah.
stories. But then
Mhm.
there's like someone that actually like, no, I know someone like that's real. And you're like, oh.
Yeah, it's like feelings validated. What else? Yeah, the place I'm from is so fucking haunted. Like, it's so fucking haunted out here. It's ridiculous. But a positive experience that I have, I take people out to the desert from my hometown because there is a cowboy spirit on a horse. And I have literally taken people out there and he lets you touch the horse.
Whoa.
Like, I've taken other people who also are like open to stuff like this too. And they're like, is there a fucking cowboy on a horse? I'm like, yes, you can see him. What's up, boo? Like, he's my little like ghost tour stop. He's so nice. I like him so much. So I know we mostly talk about like the negative and
bad,
the scary
yeah.
spirits, but there's so many good ones out there too. You'd be surprised.
That's interesting because I mean, like you always hear about like ghosts or people that like can't move on.
Sometimes, not necessarily. I will tell you that the overwhelming amount of them are that have a lot of like repressed emotion and just don't want to let go. But when your loved ones pass away, and especially if they have like a heart of gold and they're an especially good person, they actually get like a pass to like hang out.
Oh, because they want to see what their loved ones are up to and stuff.
Yeah. So my husband's grandmother passed away not too long ago. And she was such a sweet lady. My God, I loved her so much. Everybody did. So after she passed away a few months, because my oldest daughter is 5, and she's also waking up to all of these things.
Really?
So my mother-in-law pulls me aside and she's like, hey, do you know what Avery told me? I go, what? And she said that she sees Mona in her room and that she sleeps next to her and that she told her that she was afraid to die. Things that a 5-year-old can't make up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that she also told my daughter that she was there to protect her from the spirits.
Aww.
Because my daughter's waking up, which means other things are starting to notice she's around. She has so many protections in her room. It's crazy. Poor baby. My mother-in-law was like, you know, she's not making that up. Like, where would she think of this? You know what I mean?
This runs in your family then.
Yes, it does. All my kids are super witchy. All 3 of my kids are very like spiritually strong, like really, really strong.
And then was it your grandmother or your great grandmother that you mentioned that passed away and like all the protections went with her?
My great grandmother.
Okay. Does she have like the same abilities too then? I would assume if she was like protecting or
I'm going to say her and my great grandpa did. They were both catechism teachers and they were very, very enveloped in Catholicism, like, you know, most Mexican grandparents are. But what was different about them was that they wanted to know everything about their religion, not just the cherry pick shit. They wanted to know the ugly. They wanted to know the bad. They wanted to know the corrupt. They wanted to know everything, to the point to where they broke away from the church for a little bit because they didn't agree with what was going on.
Wow.
Yeah. So They're my most prominent ancestors. I talk to them quite often.
I love that.
That's something that we I don't know, maybe it is a common thing, but like our mom, ever since our great grandpa, her grandpa passed away, she would always like pray to him, like not pray to him, but like ask him for protection. Like, we're going to go on a long drive, like keep us safe. And now our grandpa has passed away too, and we do the same thing.
As you
But
should.
I feel like I don't know, it just feels so natural.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you know, the whole thing with the Dia de los Muertos, I love that it has its own day, but you should venerate your ancestors all the time, not just on one day. I love that we have like our own Mexican Halloween, you know, but
Yeah.
every day should be the day to venerate your ancestors.
Something our dad does, or not himself because he doesn't do anything, but like his family growing up, there was no like Day of the Dead like altar. They just had like an altar all the time, like 24/7. It was just there every day. It was up.
Absolutely.
Well, our mom has hers up all the time, like a
Wow,
little, like section.
I need to do that too, and then like teach my children not to touch it.
Good luck with that, girl. I have the same problem. My children are 5, 2, and 1.
Oh, so small. Okay, mine. One is 5 right now. He turned 6 in November, and then the other one just turned 3 in August.
That's still more independent age. You're so lucky.
Yeah, it's a little easier now, but that 1 year old's the one messing you up.
Yes, he is. Oh my god, I love him so much. And it's funny because he is very, very strong spiritually. So I don't know if you guys know anything about the astral realm.
No, I've
Not
just
really.
heard the word and like astral projection, and that's like pretty
That's
much
like
all
the
I know.
extent of it. Yeah.
You guys
Yeah.
have seen Insidious?
Yes,
That's how the astral realm is. That
That's
shit is real.
terrible.
So
Oh my God.
me and my cousin went and watched that movie, and when we came out, you know, people were like, "Oh, it's just a movie," and like whatever. And me and my cousin looked at each other and like, "No, it's fucking not. That's our reality."
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you can actually.
I'm gonna rewatch it because it's been a few years.
You should.
Yeah,
I love that
it's been a
movie.
few
I
years.
haven't seen the recent one because I heard that it sucked, but I always like, oh my god, I'm like Elise. Like I'm the Mexican version of Elise, but
Elisa, no?
right? Yeah, no, that's how things actually kind of are. Like that was one of the movies that when I saw it, I was like, they finally got something right.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. So my son astral projects a lot. And I'm always like, no, baby, no, be careful. It's so scary. And he's like, bitch, I don't need your help. Wow.
That
pro.
does sound scary though, because like I feel like, you know, maybe an older kid is less scary, but a young kid that like,
Run.
like you have to hold their hands across the street because they're just gonna run.
Right.
Like that sounds so
spiritually,
dangerous.
Everyone makes jokes that he's a grown man in a baby body. And I'm like, yeah, pretty much.
Oh my gosh,
God.
that's so funny.
Yeah, but yeah, no. Yeah, like I'll be like, baby, no, wait, hold on, let me help you. Like, you don't know what you're doing. And he's like, I don't need your fucking help. And he'll leave me behind. And I'm like, okay, shit. Let me know when you come back, I guess.
That's wild.
So my 5-year-old is a little more afraid. She does see some ugly things sometimes. And she'll tell me, and she'll be like, Mom, like I see this and this. And I'm like, yeah, baby, I know. Or when she has bad dreams, I'm like, you shouldn't be afraid. Nothing, you're stronger than anything and everything that could possibly ever try to hurt you. It's the living that you need to be afraid of. Honestly.
Oh my gosh. I love that you said that because that's something our dad has always told us all of our lives. Like,
it's true.
Our brother would always say, and he probably could see them, but that he would see these shadows, like shadow things, beings, and like not even just shadows, but like full on like apparitions, him and my mom. And they would tell each other like, oh, I was like scared. And then my dad would just like, you'd think he wasn't paying attention. And then he'd cut in like, oh, don't be scared of that. Be scared of the living. And we'd be like,
really though. That's absolutely true. Like, really. Like, again, you know, nothing really scares me because if anything, like, were to try to approach me, I'd be like, bro, I will leave you alone, but if you fuck with me, I will banish you from ever coming near here. Don't fuck. Like, everything knows not to.
And I guess if your work is literally in getting rid of these things, of course you're not scared of them. You know you can get rid of them. That's insane. Oh.
True.
Wow. And yeah,
It's
I'm
such
just
a
amazed.
relief. Like, I feel like I became the person that my younger self really needed growing up.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I'm super grateful. It was a very long and extensive process, but yeah, exorcism and of people and houses is my specialty.
Man, that sounds scary, like if you hear it in a sentence, but
No,
you're just like, no.
but I mean, not for me. Again, like it's whatever
Right,
to me
yeah.
because I know how to protect myself. I know how to protect the people involved. It's more of like coaching the people I'm working with to like, okay, hold on, relax. I know that this seems scary, but I promise you I've got you. Like just breathe. Breathe for a
And you seem
moment.
like the perfect person for this like job too.
Like,
You think
You're
so?
just like, yeah, like it's wow, like a match made.
So did you retire from the military? You got out? How did that work?
I did my 4-year like contracts and then just, bounced.
It'd be like that. My husband's a retired infantry veteran who also sees shit. So like we'll come
Oh.
together and he'll be like, I saw this in the closet. I saw this in the hallway. So we'll be watching a movie and like a book or something will fucking fly across the room and we'll be like, and we'll keep watching the movie.
Like, not right now. We're trying to watch
No,
this.
yeah, no, really. We're just like, don't fucking pay attention to it, whatever. But one thing we see a lot here in this house, I guess because we're parents, we see a lot of spirits of children.
Oh.
A lot of spirits of children, little girls.
So, do you believe
boys.
this thing? Because a lot of other people, or some people, say that spirits of children are not really spirits of children; that they're like
Sometimes,
more evil things. So that's
Sometimes,
like a thing.
yeah.
But there
So
are
let
also
me-
like actual spirits of children.
let me tell you an experience that my aunt has had. So her daughters are also, honestly, they're more stronger than I am. They're more awake.
Is
They
anyone
see
in your
more.
family not gifted?
Yeah, a couple of
Okay.
people. It's mostly the women. It's mostly the women.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
But my aunt, her youngest daughter is the one that's the strongest one. Like, I mean, she would draw pictures of like what she would see, and I'd be like, oh shit. Like she would see things like in the flesh, like full on, like they were standing in front of her. And
Ugh.
so
Oh my.
when the second oldest sister lived with her, there was this little girl that she kept seeing in a bush from across their apartment. And I stayed with them, so I know exactly what she was talking about. She's like, I kept seeing this little girl like standing in that bush, but I had a really bad feeling about it. So I ignored it. Well, she says that in a dream, her sister brought the little girl inside the house, and it turned out to be like a man, like a very evil man.
Oh my
And
god,
that's
you're giving me
yeah,
chills.
yeah. If there's anybody, my aunt journals everything. And if she ever leaves me anything, I hope she leaves me her journal because I would love to read about because she's had insane fucking experiences like that.
Man. Also, that's so like terrifyingly like insidious that it like came in through like a dream. That's so like
Yeah.
tricky.
Yeah.
This reminds me one time, and I've told this like maybe just a couple times on here, and it's been a while, so I'm gonna re-say it to tell you. But my previous co-host and I, MJ, we were researching this thing called the White Chivo in Mexico. It's like a shape-shifting thing.
So it's a skinwalker.
Basically like,
Yeah.
like Mexico's version of this. It's like this old belief, such an old belief. And we were researching that for an episode of like, it was like episode 3, it was or 5, some shit like that, so early on. But in the middle of all that research, one of those nights I fell asleep. So I was like asleep, and then I heard, like, I kept like tossing and turning, and then I know it was like 3 a.m. because I looked after I woke up, but in my dream, I heard this like raspy ass man voice, and it said like, oh, and it was in Spanish. And it said in Spanish, oh, you wanted to be able to see us? Well, here we are, bitch. Like, puta. And then it laughed.
No.
And then I woke
Oh my
up and I
God.
was cold. I was so cold and my heart was racing. And I just put on The Office on my phone and I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. And I tried to wake my husband up and he wouldn't wake up. And I was like, fuck. And then none of my kids came in that night. They always would storm into the room and just sleep with us. And they didn't even do it that night. Everything. And ever since then, nothing. and I'm so thankful for that. But
Because you
that
got
was
scared. your mind was like, fuck no, we're not gonna be open to this shit. Close the door.
none of this putada. No.
That's so funny. Yeah, shit from Mexico is intense because, like, well, let me tell you that growing up, like, I was like, I'm this goth kid. Goth kids from Mexico would bully me, dude, because, like, death is everywhere in Mexico. Like,
That's very true, especially like Juarez.
especially, I mean, I love going there, but we don't go in neighborhoods we don't know. We don't go places we don't know. We go where we know.
Well, even when we go to Guadalajara, my mom has told us, you know, if you're visiting our tia, she has to be at the bus stop to meet us, so people know that we know her, and we're not just like random people walking through here.
Yeah, because they'll try to fucking rob you and kidnap you and shit. Like, no lie, like, death is heavily, heavily prominent in that country. So, like, I love watching scary videos. We'll fucking fall asleep watching, like, reels. I can tell when they're real and when they're not real, too. And we'll stay up and we'll watch scary videos all fucking night. We'll fall asleep to listening to scary videos. I will tell you the spirits of brujas from over there are pretty scary.
Oh, I could picture that. Yeah,
those are some of the scariest stories.
Like, I'll still throw hands, but like,
I'll still fuck a bitch up.
a lot of the time they don't bother me. I see them, but they don't bother me. And so there was this one video we were watching where this man was being followed by one. And if you've ever seen a spirit of a bruja, it's just a bitch with a skull face and long hair. And so she kept following him, and he couldn't get her to go away, to the point to where he was recording, and she was sitting in the fucking back seat of the truck. And I was like, you did something.
What the fuck? Really?
You did something to deserve being haunted by something like that. Oh, yeah. Girl, the shit you can get away with in Mexico. I was looking at him because I can read energy too. And I was like, you fucking deserve to be haunted by this spirit. I hope that she fucking devours your energy because you deserve it.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, dude, that feminine rage. Well, dude, femicide. Femicide is so bad in Mexico. Like,
it really is. And then especially Juarez. Yeah. There's a whole podcast called, what was it called, Carmen? Forgotten in Juarez, I think it's what the name of it. Yeah. But it covers the maquiladora workers that all went missing. Yeah. It's such a good, well made. It's like, it's so old now. I'm sure there's way more deaths that are not even accounted for in that podcast anymore.
When we drive out there into the desert going towards the mountains, like, I sit there and I think about like how many mass graves we're fucking passing that we don't see. It's insane.
Do you see like things on the road as you're like driving?
Oh yeah,
man.
Oh yeah. One time a spirit did follow me home, and my husband's always telling me that I look like the inditas that are like begging on the puente. I kind of do. I'm not gonna lie. And I was like, well, there's my indigenous roots, but one did
nothing wrong with looking like that.
No. One time one did follow me home, a spirit of one, and she was mad. And she didn't say anything. She just wanted to be witnessed. She presented herself to me, and she was very sad and angry, and I was like, you don't have to stay here. You can pass on. And
that gave me chills.
Yeah. Oh, girl, this is my everyday
I'm about to cry. It sounds beautiful.
It's such a powerful thing. Like, even in death, people just want to be like witnessed and to be heard. Wow. Wow.
The poor thing. I'm so grateful that I am able to do what I do too, because a lot of these people really did just want compassion and understanding that they never got, especially over there, man. Everyone is so poor and works so hard just to live. And I mean, you can die just walking on the street over there trying to go get groceries or something. Death is very prominent there, but I've had nothing but good experiences going over there. So I'm grateful to have people that know, you know, like I have family over there now because of my husband, and I love it. I love being over there, but I'm also highly aware that there's a lot of danger.
Yeah. Like it, because there's people that are like, oh, I will never visit Mexico, but it's like, you can go.
You just got to be careful. Like,
wherever you are.
Do you know where I really want to go though? Because I feel like I have work to do there. The Mummy Museum in Guanajuato. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, we have.
Have you heard of the witch? That spends people. I want to go set her free.
Yeah, and just the way they were keeping her was crazy.
I want to go set her
One,
free. This is so bad for her.
she is probably not even a witch from what I've read and like researched about it. She's just a woman.
Yeah.
And they had her chained. They had her body chained up.
Yes.
Like,
Oh my
no,
God.
no. She wasn't a witch.
they
She was
finally
just...
unchained her, you know? But man.
Yeah, no, I want to go release. Most of those spirits need to be released because they died in such a fucking agonizing way. That's a lot of them stayed trapped there. So something I'm probably gonna end up doing if I ever end up traveling over there. But yeah, I'm super, super grateful to be able to do what I do. I also help people pass away. I'm also a death doula.
Oh, I
which is
wanted to
something
ask about
I'm
that.
doing. Yeah, repressed feelings and stagnant energy are what can trap us here, which is what I release. And then I lift the soul and release them also into the realm where they're supposed to go. Super grateful. My mom had me really young. So I've been around. I watched my great grandfather's mother pass away.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, a lot. I watched a lot of older family members pass away as a kid. So I'm very, very, very used to being around people who are passing on. So naturally, that became a part of my job also.
Right.
I love it. It's a beautiful experience. Personally, it's very rewarding. It's very validating for me too. Like, I feel like child me would be very happy with what I'm doing because, everything that I saw was extremely valid. And then I forgive everybody for the religious bullshit too. Like one time I remember I saw a bunch of spirits and I didn't know what to do. And my grandma just like started throwing holy water in the air where I would point and it didn't do anything. The spirits still stayed there. But my mom would make fun of me and I'm like, fuck you. You're not the one seeing all this stuff. I was, because she scared me into thinking that it was bad. And I was like, you're dumb. Like, and so
That's
now,
some shit I would do though.
Right?
I think not so much now that I've talked to not only you, but I think at least a couple other mediums we've talked to on either their shows or our show. And it seems like it's now that I've talked to all of you, like it's not as terrifying as maybe I thought it was at one point.
No, definitely not.
I still get so scared though.
As long as you come with a respectful intention. Like I actually came back from Concordia, which is one of the oldest cemeteries in El Paso too. We're talking like 1800s.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Old. I was just like, what's up, guys? Hello, passing through. And then when I pass by that cemetery, sometimes I'm like, office hours are from such and such. I'm not working right now. Leave me alone.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that. Because, yeah, you got to have like your set hours and boundaries. Like,
no,
this is
you
not
have to.
We can't talk right now.
Leave me alone. Like, I have like errands to do or something. I'm late to some appointment. Like, I don't have time. And I hear them too, like, Senora. And I'm like, no.
Oh my God.
But yeah, my life has been very interesting. And I completed my apprenticeship when I was like 21. I'm 27 now. So I gained a lot of knowledge really quickly as a young person. And so now I'm just kind of figuring out how to show other people that this is not so bad.
Oh my gosh. And that's something we hear so much with other mediums and tarot readers and people with disability, that it's like, it's not something to fear, especially like younger, Latino, Latina, Mexican, like relatives, like, because if you can see it, usually there's another person in your family that can, and maybe you can save them from not being so scared.
Yes.
Like our brother was so scared, and maybe if someone else that also wasn't as traumatized from these experiences, because our mom was too, maybe if someone else like you would have been around when he was a kid or when our mom was a kid, maybe it would have been a better experience for both of them.
Yeah, definitely. And if there's one thing I have a fucking bone to pick with about Hollywood when it comes to horror like this, they make it seem like whatever supernatural force is stronger than you. That's not fucking true. you are so much stronger than anything that's trying to scare you, but you forgot. So they take advantage of that and they try to use it to manipulate you and scare you more. No. Now I'm like, you are fucking dumb. Like, I will fucking
Yeah.
literally use my spirit to punch you in the throat. Get the fuck away from me. It's totally different now, but yeah, I'm trying to change that. Starting with my kids and, you know, with the people that come to me for help. I do my best to explain as much as I can. I give as many free resources as I can because, oh man, I guess I'm meant to help everybody like become more comfortable with the fact that, you know, other dimensions exist among ours. And that's something that's really hard for a lot of people to be comfortable with. I will tell you, I can say I'm used to it, but at the same time, not really. Because energy from other dimensions is kind of weird, feels weird. Sometimes it feels heavy. Sometimes it feels different. And a lot of people become really overwhelmed with stuff like this. So I'm here to try to make it a little bit easier.
How do you take care of yourself to not like let it like affect you that much?
I have to meditate. I have to. Your mind, your body, and your spirit are all connected. And when one is imbalanced, the other is imbalanced. So it's really important to maintain all three. And so, you know, meditation helps you spiritually, but it helps you physically too. It helps lower your cortisol levels. It helps you reduce stress. Negative feelings, I will tell you, can create holes in your aura that make it easier for things to try and attack you. I'm not trying to scare anybody into not having negative feelings, but, you know, like a long period of depression or a long period of anger, like those feelings can literally like create holes in your protective barrier, and letting them go helps fix that. So yeah, it's a lot of information.
I'm glad you asked that, Carmen, because I was about to ask that too.
Oh,
Yeah. Well, we're reaching an hour and I gotta eat dinner. So let's wrap up, right? But first, spooky recommendations. We'll start with you. Do you have any, Emily?
Books or movies?
Whatever you want to share.
Okay.
Your most like beloved spooky recommendation.
Okay, so I really like, what is his name? It's because I watch a lot of like paranormal videos on YouTube. If you speak Spanish, Dros Ratsnick.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Fucking love
I
him.
also love his channel.
Love him. My favorite book ever that I can read 1,000 million times is The Shining from Stephen King.
I still need to read that.
Oh, it's so
I
good.
need to read it too.
Over and over and over and over and over again. And then I think, okay, I pick horror films based off of the special effects. The scarier the fucking demon or whatever looks, the better the rating you get from me. So one of my favorite ones was The Demon in Ouija, the movie Ouija.
I still need to watch that.
I haven't watched
So
it.
good. So good. Insidious, again, some of my favorite movies that are pretty good at representing like the dark side of the spirit realm and what it actually looks like. What else? I have so many, girl. It's ridiculous. I've been watching all this shit since I was a little kid. I really liked Terrifier for the gore.
Oh, 1 or 2?
I haven't seen 2, but 1 was really good.
Oh, okay. I still haven't seen those either.
And then I have
I
a
don't know
fear.
why.
My husband wants to go mining for crystals in caves, and I have a fucking fear of caves.
Don't go in the
because of
caves.
that one movie. Because
No
of
caves.
all of the movies about
Descent.
caves. Yes. All these movies about caves, bro. God, why?
Also, the people in real life that get stuck in the caves.
For real, like it happens more
Yeah.
often than not.
Yeah.
It's fucking sad and scary. And he's like, "Let's go in the cave," and I'm like, "Sir, we watch horror movies for fun. Like you're really
Have you
telling
not
me?"
seen The Descent?
No, for real.
And you probably would see stuff down there too. So
Yeah, 100%. And then the one place I've always wanted to go, and if you can go, fucking 100% recommend, is the catacombs in Paris, because colonization,
Oh,
my ancestors
yes.
are from there.
Oh, Paris. Okay.
Yeah, France. We're French, you know, the French colonization of Mexico. I have a lot
I was
of
gonna say the French still have a long history in Mexico.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have French ancestry, and I know my husband does too, because they showed me the family tree and they showed me a picture of their French immigrant ancestors with their fucking luggage, like coming over here to Mexico. So I
Oh
was
my
like, okay,
God.
a lot of you motherfuckers like breeded with us, and that explains why I am a pale skinned Latina. Makes a lot of fucking sense. I would love to go to the catacombs, but I know there's a lot of ugly shit down there too.
So many
I still wanna
stories.
go.
Yeah. Carmen, do you have any spooky recommendations?
I do, because last time I had like a bunch and I had to split it up because I was going to go on and on, and then I
really
like had to
quick.
do something.
Nightmares from Dreamscapes by Stephen King.
Oh, I've heard of that
Oh,
one.
I also haven't read that.
It's a short.
I've
It's
only
a
read
book.
Salem's Lot.
It's a book full of short stories that
haven't
he
read
left
any.
unfinished. Oh my God, it's so good. It is so good. One of the stories is about this man who keeps seeing this little boy in a mask, and every single time that he sees him, like someone dies. It's so
Ooh.
fucking good. I
Sounds
love
scary.
it.
95 pages.
And it's just short stories that are like, like every time you read them.
I like reading short
Wow.
stories. I'm still reading Loteria.
Yes, Loteria. Me too. I'm on the like third short stories, but that's also another great book.
Which one am I on?
Oh, you're further.
The Scorpion, the 40th one. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's right here. Sometimes when I need a distraction, because you know when like you're working and then like you can't focus anymore, like every paragraph or so, like as I'm typing, and so then I take a quick break and I read like a page and I have it like in front of me right here.
Oh, I should do that. That way I'll actually finish it.
But yeah, my recommendation is The Sound of Gravel by Ruth. Damn, I didn't know how to pronounce her name. Warner? Maybe? Warner? It's like Wariner.
The Sound of Gravel?
But she's the 39th daughter of one of the founder of the LeBaron.
The LeBaron cult.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And
we talked, or you talked about it. Was I here for that episode? I don't remember.
You were
if I was
here.
or
It
not.
was when it was the three of us. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah, because we talked about them, and I saw this on Libby. So then I'm like, oh, I need to read this. And so yeah, she's a 39th daughter, and I can't remember her dad's name, but Ervil is her uncle.
Ervil. Okay.
Yeah, and I mean I can go on and on, but people should just either read it or listen to it. It's read by Ruth herself. It's just, incredibly infuriating. Also lovely to hear she made it through that, but like really she went through a lot, too much. It's like every time I thought it couldn't get worse for her, it did.
Wow. Okay, so my spooky recommendation is this podcast I just discovered because I was listening to another podcast called Books in the Freezer. Actually, that's another good one. Books in the Freezer,
yeah.
they review horror
I just started
books.
listening
It's
to
so
that.
fun. And they have like a theme with an episode, and it usually has other authors as guests or other like book podcasters. So there's like an episode with the book we're reading now for the book club. Piñata, he's the author. There's an episode with him. There's an episode with V. Castro, the author of The Haunting of Alejandra. And every episode is themed around like, cozy horror books or horror books about grief or things like that. But in that podcast, she mentioned a different podcast called audio drama. So it's not like a real thing. But the whole premise of this podcast is that people send in their letters and she reads them, like their problems, and she gives advice on them. But it's like set in a world where there's like monsters, and it's called Monstrous Agonies. So people will send in.
Sounds cool.
And the episodes are so short, 10 minutes, 12 minutes, all under 15 minutes, it seems. And so it'll be like, oh, I don't know what to do with my roommate. I've never had a roommate that has scales before, and she just like picks them and leaves them everywhere. And I don't know what to do. It's so gross. Is it
so
wrong of
funny.
me
Oh
to
my
think it's
God.
gross? And then the host, she's like, no, this is not a you problem. Even if you're not human, you shouldn't be doing this. Think of it as clipping your toenails and leaving it there. Like that's still rude no matter what you are. And it's
I just followed
it's
it,
so
so I can
funny.
that.
Yeah, so that is my recommendation because I have been having a great time listening to it. And again, it's Monstrous Agonies because the first time I heard, I thought it said Monster Agonies. And I was trying to find it and I typed it into my podcast app. Pocket Cast and nothing was coming up. And then I typed Monster Agonies into Spotify, and you can type the most random shit, misspelling, and Spotify will find it. And so I found it, and I'm like, oh, it's Monstrous Agonies. So that is my recommendation. It's been funny. I have been enjoying it so far. And yeah, before we go, do you want to tell our listeners where they can find you if you want to be found?
Okay. Just on my Instagram right now, it's at Lovely Dark Tarot. I do have a YouTube channel. I just can't remember what the fucking username is. So Instagram for right now is okay.
Okay, Instagram. And I will share that in the show notes. And then through Instagram, you can also find your threads.
Yeah,
which is,
absolutely.
Again, so fun.
Threads is life, man. I share my
it's been great.
Whole life and all of my. So you'll see me occasionally talk about either a memory or an experience I've had, or even like something that I'm experiencing currently. I talk about all kinds of bullshit involving what I do on there. So yeah.
Perfect. And again, it's such a great place to just like find people.
Yes.
So thank you again for coming on and for being so understanding. I had to cancel last week because I couldn't talk.
Oh, girl, say less. Considering that you have kids too that are probably in school, like say less. Yeah.
It's been so fun. You are seriously, I like we already said throughout the episode, but like the best person to be in the field that you're in.
Thank you.
That's just amazing. And then Carmen, anything else to add before we go? Nope. Okay. All right. Well, stay spooky. We'll catch everyone next time. Bye.
Bye.